Riley, did you know that the wait is finally over?
It is. It ended a day and a half ago.
Bro, isn't that crazy?
It is. It is. I'm glad it's here. So glad
I
it's
know.
here.
I know.
I
We've needed some new Quadeca music.
Yes, and I think he hit the ball here. I mean, it's a unique album. It's very different. I will say I don't think the re-listenability is going to be the same as From Me to You on this album, but I do think it's a better work of art, if that makes sense. The
Yeah, it
concept
does.
is a
I
lot more
feel yeah.
cohesive, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so hopefully everyone that's watched this video has seen his message that he's put out basically everywhere, I believe. I know I saw it on
Yeah,
Instagram. I don't know if it was on Twitter
it
or
was
not,
on
but
Twitter, yeah.
um Quadeca's put basically a year and a half into this album nonstop.
Yeah.
Basically. So this all 11 of these songs, maybe there's more. I don't know if there'll be a deluxe or not, but all 11 of these songs is a year and a half of every day working. Every single day.
Yeah.
And it definitely shows off in the songs,
Yeah,
100%.
and I mean, he went through a lot of shit, and you can tell that. Like some of
Yeah.
the stuff he talks about are pretty messed up in this album, which is
Mhm.
it's cool. It's really neat. Um, I mean, it started off with "Sorry for Dying," which immediately after like 30 seconds in, it feels like all my life. The piano, the way it's done, like the do, it's the same exact thing. The maybe not quite the exact same, but it's
Same vibe.
99%. And then the delivery and the cadence was also extremely similar as well. So it kind of shows off that he's picking off where he left off. And this may be tying into the fact that For Me to You was a suicide note. I don't think we ever really get that answered. And I don't know if that's a question people are asking besides me. But
You're
I,
the only person I've ever seen, so you might
it
be
could
on your
be.
own island here, Riley.
It could be, and I mean that kind of gives it that vibe, and that's the second to last song off For Me to You, and the feeling of drifting apart could be as he was leaving the world. Again, I don't think so because the lyrics don't really show that, but yeah. And then
Yeah.
goes to Tell Me a Joke, as we've all been through. Don't Mind Me is kind of setting the stage in a lot of ways. Like Sorry for Dying kind of shows that he died. Tell Me a Joke kind of shows the reasoning a little bit. He gets into it a little bit
Okay.
later. But Don't Mind Me kind of illustrates that he's like in a purgatory. He's in limbo. He's not in death, nor is he alive. He's not in heaven, nor is he in hell. He's kind of in this weird in between place, and he feels really powerless. I think that's a great track. It's almost an intro in a way. It's like a second intro. It's where he kind of like really is in this landscape. Uh,
Yeah,
th-
I liked Don't Mind Me. It was a good song. I
yeah,
liked it.
it's one I really like. I mean, it doesn't have as much meaning as a lot of the other stuff, but it's one of those songs that's like at least early on, really like listening to it. It's really palatable. Nothing's too crazy, and it just works well. Picking Up Hands, which early on is one of my favorites, personally. He's revisiting his old home in it, and everything is dusty. They're trying to cope with it, but they like can't. And he's just kind of reminiscing, missing his childhood. Like he misses having his mom down the hallway, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's kind of eerie too. Like it's kind
Yeah,
of has a little eerie vibe, you know.
yeah, and he talks about how he's trying to interact with them, like he's turning the doormat, trying to get
Hmm.
their attention, and he feels really lonely. Like this is where the loneliness starts to come in because he tried interacting with his dog, and his dog runs away from him now. As it's common belief that dogs can see dead people.
Yeah, it
I've
is. I
heard
mean,
it.
it's
I
like a
don't get it.
common. Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird, but it is what it is. And then I personally love that it goes from that to Born Yesterday.
Yeah, it's a really good transition. The transition is amazing.
Yep, and it's almost like part one, part two, because Born
Yeah.
Yesterday is where he's talking to his mother, and like it's amazing. They're both heartbreaking songs, and
And did you notice that Born Yesterday at the end is like slightly different than like the single?
yeah,
You know, it's a little more distorted.
yeah, which makes sense.
Hmm.
I liked it. I wonder if he just changed his mind on something after Born Yesterday came out, or if that
I
was like an
think
intentional. This is the single version. This is the album
I think
version.
that's what it was. I think the single version. You know, it would
Yeah,
have been kind of
makes
cool though if
sense.
you released that and then like had that distortion at the end for the signal, because he kind of would have like been like, oh, so there's gonna be a song that complements this.
Yeah, true, true. Did you also catch that there was "It's All a Game" reference in Picking Up Hands right at the end in the outro? That person that was
Yeah,
talking.
yeah, I heard that. Yep.
It wasn't like a great reference, but kind of cool.
No, yeah.
And then from there, it goes to the Memories We Lost in Transition. That felt like a very transitional song. I mean, it was
I
obviously
mean,
an
I think
interlude.
so.
Um, but the
Yeah,
album changes vibes at that
it
point.
does. It
Um,
does. Like that's a turning point. That's where everything gets
weird.
slower. Would you say? No, not.
No,
I don't know.
not with house setting and knots. Those
Yeah, I
two,
don't know.
I don't know. It's definitely a transition. I mean, it's been a day and a half. We're still trying to figure this out.
Hmm.
This is just our initial reactions. Yeah. Goes on to house setting, um, which was interesting. It's taken me longer to get into this one, and I'm still not quite there yet. I think as time goes on, I'll like it more and more. Um, but yeah, it's really lonely, like lyrically, and he's really getting desperate to get a reaction, and he just wants something, and he talks about killing his family in this song,
Yeah,
which is a little bit messed up, and that
it is a
gets
mess up.
confirmed in Knots. But here he says, "I feel guilty. I feel guilty. I don't know why," or something like that. And then he starts talking about carbon monoxide, and he says, "I'll do it," as in he'll carbon monoxide his family, so they all die and are with him in this limbo phase, so he can not be alone. And then Danny Brown comes in and raps his carbon monoxide for a minute.
And
I
is
hated this
bad.
at
No wonder
first.
why. No wonder why he put him on here. I do not like this
I
feature at all. I do
oh
not at all.
I like it now. Like when you think about it from the perspective of he's murdering this guy's family.
As in murdering his bars. Sure. Okay.
I don't know. I didn't mind the feature. It's definitely one that's gonna take me a little bit for it to grow on me, but that's kind of how Danny Brown is. He's just unique.
Yeah, I don't like it. I feel like it doesn't. I don't know. I just don't like it.
Fair enough.
Just don't.
Fair enough. Um, from there we go to knots, which is pretty much all these knots are little mountains that he never actually climbed, never got around to finishing. Kind of ties back to that a little bit. It's really chaotic. I like it personally.
Yeah, I like Knots. It's a good song. It's different. It's different.
It's like Candles on Fire. I mean, it's not, but it's like
No, it's not. Yeah,
it's
I
that
understand what you're saying. It's
direction.
like the yeah, yeah.
There's a line in there saying turning off the oven in there. So that's where he's saying he didn't kill his family. I think it was verse 2 was kind of him. There was just like lines that are kind of random. It felt like that were reflecting on stuff. And that was one of them. Yeah, I'm not a biggest fan of the second half of that song. It just feels too all over the place right now, where it's kind of hard for me to grasp it. Where the first half
Production
was
is kind
easy.
of crazy.
Yeah. Then it goes to Fantasy World, where it's just limbo forever. He talks about why he killed himself a little bit more, how he just wanted his life to kind of be over, and he wanted to go to this fantasy world that had all his problems fixed. Obviously, that wasn't the case,
Yeah.
but that was his thinking. It's kind of a really sad song, but yeah, it is what it is. And then it goes to Fractions of Infinity. This is another one I really like.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I think Quadeca does a really good job of using the drums in this album. I think his drums kind of set the base to all the songs. And I
Yeah.
really like that he does that. I think he's really good at using drums to help orchestrate songs.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought he did use the guitar a bit more in this album than he has in the past, which I thought was pretty unique. Um, he definitely has evolved. Like even from For Me to You, like his sound is changed, and I mean I hope it keeps changing album to album, because that's
Yeah.
what really makes a great artist.
I think yeah, I mean it's just going along with how he's feeling. And
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah,
Creates character.
it
Yeah.
does, it does. Fractions of Infinity was pretty good. Um, yeah, it's just kind of more of this like limbo. I'm not entirely getting what's going on for this one. Um,
I don't have much coming either. I haven't taken a hard look at the lyrics, so
I tried to, but life's been busy. Um, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that song. I mean, it's good. I love it. I love it sonically and everything. Um, Yeah, there's maybe a reference to eyes in there. I wasn't 100% sure, but I kind of got that. I don't remember what the line was. I didn't write it down word for word. But
Nice.
he references something about it where, yeah. And then it goes to Cassini's Division. Again, an amazing outro track for this
It's
song.
really good.
Um,
2.5 minutes of static, but
it kind of makes sense. And the
yeah.
static is kind of nice, like in a weird way. I mean, let's be real, you don't listen to the song every time. But
No.
when you're listening to it
Or you just
all
listen
the
to
way,
it till the static gets there, kind of a thing. But
yeah.
yeah, I really thought that. I mean, the use of static even before, like the 2.5 minutes of static, was really nice.
Yep.
And then obviously him basically sobbing
Yep.
really shows you like.
He's finally accepting his death. Like that's kind of a difficult thing. And then the
Yeah.
static is just him fading away into like actual death instead of this limbo.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that sobbing is like actual, just like he just pressed the record button and was just sobbing.
I mean, you read the thing. He was going through shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't believe he lost like 40
he
pounds.
probably just didn't
He's
eat.
not even that. He doesn't eat. He's not that.
Yeah.
He's not even. He's like already skinny as it is.
He said he's doing better. I really hope it's true.
Yeah.
I really do. Ben seems like a great human. Been through some shit. I feel like it's mainly psychological torture that he does to himself, but I really feel for him.
So then, Riley, let's ask you this question: what do you think of just the album name? What do you think? What do you think of? I didn't mean to haunt you. Like after listening to everything, how does that name fit in?
I think it's great because he talks about his family a lot. He spends a lot of time in his household, and the whole time he's like interacting with them, like trying to get something out of them. He misses them. He wants to be with them, right?
Mhm.
This is like a plead for them, and in doing so, the only way you can do that is haunt them. Like think about it. If I can interact with some things, but I can't say anything or write anything or do anything like that, you're just straight up haunting them. And that's not his intent, but that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
It's odd, but I think it's great. I thought
I'm
overall,
also.
You go.
I just want to add one more thing here before we go to overall thoughts. I'm really glad that he added. I think it was maybe a month ago. Maybe it was even after Born Yesterday. I'm not sure. He tweeted out saying that I think a lot of us were expecting it to be like a Halloween type album, not necessarily like a deep, meaningful, but more one that's like kind of. I want to say scary. I don't know if that's the right word. And I like how he tweeted out saying like, "Hey, this isn't going to be a scary album. This is actually like meaningful and kind of the complete opposite, but also not. I don't know. Like it's not that kind of
oddly wholesome.
Yeah.
For an album about him killing himself
and haunting his family and maybe killing his family and
like, there was a short period of time where he was trying to kill his family in this album. No, I thought it was great. Personally, the soundscape, this is the best I've heard from him in that reference. And I mean, For Me to You had a great soundscape. But there were just, when you listen to this on a nice pair of headphones, there are things that are just swirling around you, panning in, panning out, and just constantly moving. And it's just like that feeling when you're overthinking, everything is just kind of consuming you. You get that in a lot of places on this album. The static was a constant throughout the album. It was really nice. I think the soundscape he created here was one of the best on any album I can think of. And
I think it just goes to show that he is, I mean, y'all know this, he's insanely good at his production. Like,
and
For Me to You.
Better, which is incredible. Also.
But it's also, he's really good at using it for a specific genre or a specific story, Like, he's not just doing it to a specific type of music. Like, this is not For Me to You. And I think that's good. And he did the production perfectly again.
Yeah.
So I think he's just improved even more.
His voice is improved. That nose surgery has helped out.
Yes. Yeah, it has.
You can genuinely tell.
Yeah.
Which is.
With that being said, I still think I would have say it's not as good as For Me to You from just a listening standpoint. At least not yet for me. I haven't listened to it enough. I don't know if I
Fair.
can say which one, but like upon the first probably 5 listens, I would say for me to you, just I'd
I
rather listen to it.
I think I agree to an extent. I think like 2 years from now, once I'm done with dissecting this album and everything, I will come back to For Me to You more, just because it's so much more of like a real life vibe. It's not as, this album's kind of depressing.
Dark. Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to listen to at times. And
Yeah.
For Me to You, I mean that's also difficult at times, but like it's if I'm outside and it's snowing, I'm going to For Me to You. Like there's so many vibes to it. There's so many like highs and lows to it that's just so fun, where this is just like hard. It's difficult.
hmm
And I mean, this is a better work of art in my opinion. Like I think this is probably a better album. But yeah, that re-listenability category is lacking compared to For Me to You. But that's not what he was going for.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I think this album does its job damn near perfectly.
Yeah, I think he hit it on the nose with what he was going for.
Yeah. Any other final thoughts?
I don't think so. But if you are interested in seeing what we thought of For Me to You, we do have a past video talking about our rankings
Yep.
along with voice memos.
Be
So
right over there.
if you're interested in going to watch any of those videos, please do that. Riley and I will probably be doing a bracket challenge of this album in
Next week.
2 weeks. Next week, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll also be doing a
whenever we-
finale next week. This week we'll be having 2 brackets come out for Joji. Because Smithereens came out. And we'll be doing the finale.
Yes, so yeah, and then we'll be going to another artist. So if you guys are interested in seeing more music content, as in us reacting to music, to singles, albums, all that stuff, please make sure to subscribe, like our videos, and tell us how horribly wrong we are or how insanely on the dot we are. Because I feel like we're either one or the other.
Yep.
I don't think we're right in the middle.
Song. I mean, we're early on. Everyone has different favorite songs, and it's gonna be different in a week. Let's just be real. Let us know what your favorite song is right now. Would love to hear it. And if you remember, come back in a week and tell us what's changed.
Awesome.
Let's get into the ratings. I guess we haven't done that yet. We're not doing our normal scale, which is normally really difficult to get a good score on. So just based on your gut feeling, what are you thinking for a rating?
My gut rating.
Yep.
7.58, somewhere in that range.
7.58. That's oddly specific, but
I know it's like I just feel like, without doing the math at all, like I feel like they're not going to be just as highly rated in my opinion.
fair.
And I feel like that re-listenability is going to tank, so that might affect my rating. So but I still think it's a pretty good album. So
Fair. I think there's gonna be a lot of 9s for me on this album. I don't know if there's any song that's quite perfect, right? I don't think there's a song that stands out like The Feeling of Drifting Apart for me. I think this is gonna get like on our scale, it's gonna get like a 7.5-ish, but I think for me it gets like an 8.5. Like when I remove the scale and just try to look at what I would write down as a score if someone pressed me to do it right now.
yeah, I do want to remind Riley that when Don FM came out, he rated almost every song a 9.
I did do that, but that has
And now,
changed.
looking back,
That has changed drastically.
so
I do have a recency
guess-
bias. I know that's the thing that I generally do. I think that's just human. So I usually reevaluate after like a month or two of living with it, and I'll have to do the same here.
Yeah, it would be interesting if we did like a month from now, 6 months from now, and then a year from now. Be kind of cool.
It would be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for watching. This video was kind of long. Tell us what you think. We already went through all this stuff. Peace.